Just as they did yesterday, supporters from Orange Walk North crowded the street in front of the courtroom, while the court itself was packed with supporters of the various parties in the case, as well as interested observers. The entire morning was taken up with an application brought by attorney Rodwell Williams, acting on behalf of claimant Gaspar Vega. It involved the infamous recording on which Vega is named.
The CD recording in the Spanish language has been admitted into evidence of the recording of the tape conversation between Manuel Cervantes and between Manuel Castillo and Mrs. Vilma Cervantes. That recording is in evidence on the CD, but it's in Spanish language. As you know, the conversation was conducted in Spanish language. The language of the court is English, and our side, the claimants, did prepare its own translation of it, and we felt that since there were no question raised about the translation that we prepared, the transmission in Spanish and the translation into English, which we prepared by our own interpreter, that it would save much time to in fact use it.
That application was greeted with immediate objection by Amon Courtney, who represents the second defendant, Fiesta FM. Said Musa is representing the first defendant, Ramon Cervantes Jr. Courtney says the claimant was seeking to introduce a witness who could only speak to a copy of a recording obtained from Love FM, which is not a party to the court action.
Well, what they attempted to do this morning was to call a witness who did a translation of the recording. And that witness, the law says that a witness has to give his or her statement, in this particular case, from the 27th of March. This witness did not. So on the day of trial, they attempted to get the witness to then give a statement, and we objected. We objected firstly because they failed to comply with the rules. Secondly, we objected that the CD that is in evidence is a recording from Love FM and not from Fiesta. And we submitted to the court that a translation of a Love FM recording is irrelevant in a case against Fiesta.
The application to call Kelly Guzman, the claimant's translator of the recording, was refused early this afternoon. It's an interesting case. Libel and slander hinge on the words which are said to create such offenses. The next step for the claimant will be to play the recording in court at its next hearing of the case.
We will now have to go through the process and have the tape recording, which is in evidence, except that the language of the court is English and that matter is in Spanish. So it has to be played and interpreted by the official court interpreter.
It is our position that the claimant will not be allowed to play the recording in court. Mr. Williams says that he is going to make such an application. I would only describe it as a novel application, and we look forward to seeing the law that would support that. I'm not sure where he's going to find it.
They may seek to challenge it. That's how the process goes. But my point is, it is in evidence, yeah, and it no need to be translated because the language of the court is English.
Attorneys for both defendants claim that the recording with those allegedly offensive words has yet to be heard as evidence, which is good news for their clients.
It's been going extremely well. The fundamentals of this case is the allegation of that my client published or republished a libelous article against Minister Vega, and I'm yet to hear any evidence of that. And as far as I'm aware, the case for the claimant is about to conclude, and we're still waiting for that kind of evidence, because there is none, and there will be none.
We maintain that position. We will be calling our witnesses to establish that, and so far, and there is only one more witness for the claimant, no one has put in evidence any recording from Fiesta.
Clearly they won't be able to prove any broadcast by Fiesta. They're only relying on a tape from Love FM, which is not really evidence. I mean, it's totally irrelevant to this case. So I would think speaking personally, of course, we don't want to prejudge anything, but Fiesta, as far as I'm concerned, is definitely in the clear. And my client is, at this point in time, I'm comfortable with the way the case has gone.
And they remain, as they left the courtroom this afternoon, very confident.
I am, certainly.
You see me trembling?
As he did yesterday, Vega left the courtroom flanked by his family and supporters and was greeted downstairs by over 100 residents from his political division who have been bussed in for the occasion. Mike Rodon for News 5.